Alright, Section 3406, Administration Protection. Existing right with all discretion, Secretary of the Energy, disposal of the property owned with the title shall be subject to any of the contract relating to the United States ownership and interest of the property within effect of the time of the disposal, including any lease agreement pertaining to the United States for the interest of the Naval, Petroleum Reserve. Number 2, deposit of the receiver, notwithstanding any other all money of the receiver of the United States from the disposal of the property owned with the title, including any lines received with the lease entered into under the title, should be deposited in the general fund of the Treasury. Treatment of royalties. C. With any petroleum occurring with the United States of the royalty from any lease for the land transferred under this title shall be delivered within the United States shall be paid with the money Secretary of the Interior may elect. D. Elements for the lease. The lease owner of the title may provide for the exploration for the development, the production of petroleum, other petroleum in the form of oil shale. E. Waiver the requirements regarding consolation and approval of Section 7431 of Title 10 United States Code shall not apply with the disposal of the property under this title. F. The oil shale reserve, the number 2 section, does not apply with the transfer of the oil shale reserved to under Section 3405. Section 3411, definition. For the purpose of the subtitle of the term Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1 reserve of the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1 commonly referred to Elk Hills unit with the located with the current county, California, established executive order of the President dated September 2nd, 1912, the term Naval Petroleum Reserve, the meaning given for the term 7422 of the Title 10 United States Code, except the term does not include the Naval Petroleum Reserve, number 1. 3. The term unit plan contract, meaning with the unit plan contract equity of the owners of the land within the boundaries of the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 2, with the entry within June 1944, the term effective date, meaning for the date of enactment of this act. 5. The term Secretary means the Secretary of Energy. And 6. The term appropriate Congressional Committee for the meaning of the Committee of the Armed Services, for the design of the Committee of the Armed Services, for the Committee of the Commerce, or now Committee of the Energy Commerce of the House of the Representatives. Section 3412 of the sale of the Navy Petroleum Reserve, the number 1. Sale of the reserve required subject to Section 3414, no later than 2 years of the fact of the date Secretary of Energy shall enter one or more of the contract sale of the all right title of the interest of the United States in and all the lands owned, controlled by the United States within of the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1, Chapter 641, Title 10, the United States Code shall not apply for the sale of the reserve. B. Equal equity finalization, 1. No later than 8 months after the effective date, Secretary shall finalize equity interest for the oil, gas owned with the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1, in manner provided by the subsection. 2. The Secretary shall maintain in the service of the independent petroleum and the reserve the mutually acceptable equal equity owner shall prepare with the recommendation final equity figure. Secretary may accept the recommendation independent of the petroleum and engineering final equity known as the oil and gas owner with the established final equity entry with the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1, in accordance with the recommendation. With the Secretary may use such other method to establish final equity interest of the reserve the Secretary considers effective. 3. An effective date with the ongoing equity redetermination, the dispute between the equity owners of the Section 9B with the unit plan control of the disposal shall be resolved with the manner with the provide with the unit plan contract within 8 months of the effective date. Resolution should be considered final for all purposes under Section C. With the notice of the sale no later than 2 months after the effective date, the Secretary shall publish the notice of the intent of the Naval Petroleum Reserve with the number 1 sale. Secretary shall maintain the technical, geological, financial information relevant to the sale of the reserve available to the interest of the qualified buyers upon the request of the Secretary in consultation with the Administrator of the General Services shall ensure the sale of the process fair and open to all interested qualified parties. D. The establishment of minimum sale price no later than 7 months after the effective date, the Secretary will obtain the service of 5 independent experts with evaluation of the oil gas field to conduct a separate assignment of the manner consistent with the commercial practices. Value of the interest of the United States with the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1. The independent experts shall complete with the assessment within 11 months of the effective date, with making their assessments. The independent experts shall consider, among other factors, A. The equipment and facilities to be included in the sale of the estimated quantity of the petroleum and natural gas in the reserve. C. The net present value of the anticipated revenue stream of the Secretary with the Director of Office Management Budget jointly determined the would receive of the reserve we now sold, adjusting the anticipated increase of the tax revenue that would result in the reserve sold. The 2. The independent retained under paragraph 1 shall determine the submit with the Secretary of the estimated total amount of the cost of environmental restoration and remediation necessary to the reserve. Secretary shall report with the estimated Director of the Office Management and Budget, Secretary of the Treasury of the Congress. 3. Secretary in consultation, Director, Office Management and Budget shall set the minimum acceptable price for the reserve. The Secretary may not set a minimum acceptable price below the higher of A. The average of 5 assessments prepared with the paragraph 1, or B. The average of 3 assessments excluding high and low assessments. And E, administrative of the sale of the draft concept of no later than 2 months after the effective date, Secretary of the retained certificate of investment, make an appropriate equivalent financial advisor, independently administer of the manner of the consistent with the commercial practice of the manner of the maximized sales proceed with the government of the naval sale of the naval petroleum reserve, the number 1 under this section. Costs and fees retaining the investment of the bank and financial advisor may be paid out with the proceed with the sale of the reserve. 2. No later than 11 months after the effective date, the investment bank of the financial advisor retained under the paragraph 1 shall complete with the draft contract with the contracts of the naval petroleum reserve, the number 1 shall accompany with the solicitation of the describe the term provision of the sale entry for the United States within the reserve. 3. The draft contract with the contract shall identify all the equipment facilities to be included in the sale, B. Any potential claim liability, including liability, environmental restoration, remediation, with the extent within such claim liability, the United States with the response under subsection G. 4. The draft of the contracts include with the term of the provision sale of the interest of the United States with the reserve subject to the review with the approval of the Secretary of the Director of Office of Management Budget. Each of these officials should complete the review of the approve of the disapprove of the draft contract with the contract within no later than 12 months after the effective date. After solicitation offered no later than 13 months after the effective date, the Secretary shall publish the solicitation offered the Navy Petroleum Reserve, the number 1. 2. No later than 18 months after the effective date, Secretary shall identify the highest possible offer for the offer of the purchase of the interest of the United States with the Navy Petroleum Reserve, the number 1, in total with the exceed of the minimum acceptable predetermined or subsection D3. 3. You shall take in such action immediately after the effective date and necessary to obtain an independent petroleum and energy for the 10 months after the date of the reserve report prepared in a manner consistent with the commercial practice. The Secretary shall review the reserve report, support with the preparation, solicitation office for the reserve. G. The future liabilities of effectuating the sale of the interest of the United States with the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1. Secretary makes examine the indemnities and warranties as the Secretary considered reasonable, necessary to protect the purchase of claims arising with the ownership of the reserve of the United States. H. Maintaining production under the unit of sale of the Navy Petroleum Reserve, the number 1, completed under this section, where the Secretary shall continue to produce the reserve of the maximum daily oil gas rate of the reservoir shall permit maximum economic development of the reserve consistent with the sound oil field energy project according to subsection or section 3 of the unit plan contract. Part 1. Non-compliance with the deadlines within any time during the 2-year period beginning with the effective date with the Secretary to determine the action necessary to complete with the sale of the reserve with the period that are not been taken with the time they complete with the Secretary transmit with the appropriate congressional committees written notification terminated with the plan setting forth the action will be taken to ensure the sale of the reserve will be completed within that period with the Secretary consult with the Director of the Office of Management Budget in preparing the plan with the submission with the committees. J. Oversight of the Comptroller of the General shall monitor the action of the Secretary relating to the sale of the reserve of the report, the appropriate congressional committees, and finally such action with the Comptroller of the General consider the appropriate to report with the committees. K. Acquisition services. Secretary may enter for the contract acquisition service required under the section under the authority of paragraph 7 in section 3304A of Title 41 of the United States Code, except the notification required under subparagraph B of the such paragraph. Each of the contract shall be submitted Congress not less than 7 days before the award of the contract. Section 3413, effective on sale reserve. The effective of the existing contract in case of any of the contract effective the effective of the date for the purchase of the production of any of the party United States share with the Naval Petroleum, the number 1. Sale of the interest of the United States with the reserve subject to the contract for the period of 3 months after closing date with the sale of the unit until the termination of the contract, whichever occurred first, determine any of the contract entered into after the effective date of the purchase of the production shall not exceed the anticipated closing date of the sale of the reserve. 2. Secretary shall actually have the termination proceed the provided in the contract between the United States with the Petroleum Petroleum Operation Incorporated with the contract number DEACO 1855FE60520 with the contract terminated no later than the date of the closing of the sale of the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1 in section 3412. 3. The Secretary actually for the termination proceed with the provided in the unit plan contract so that the unit plan contract terminates no later than the date of the closing of the sale of the reserve. B. The effect of the antitrust law of nothing and subtitle of the construe of the aperture of the alter of the application of the antitrust law of the United States with the purchase or purchase of the day of the case of the being of the National Petroleum Reserve, the number 1 land of the reserve subject to the sale under section 3412 of the completion of the sale. C. Preservation of private right and title interest of nothing and the subtitle of the construe that adversely affect the ownership of the interest of the individual having any right with the title of the interest of the land within the boundary of the National Petroleum Reserve, the number 1 which are subject to unit plan contract. Alright, transfer or otherwise non-transferable permit. The Secretary may transfer the purchase or purchase for any of the case may be the National Petroleum Reserve, the number one incidental take with the permit regarding the reserve of the issue of the Secretary of the United States, the Fish and Wildlife Service, in effect with the effect of the day if Secretary determined the transfer of the permit is necessary to expedite the sale of the reserve within a manner that maximize the value of the sale of the United States. Transferred permit shall cover the identical activities shall be subject to the same terms and conditions applied with the permit at the time of the transfer. R3414, conditions of sale profit. Note regarding the sale conditions, Secretary may enter into any of the contract sale of the Naval Petroleum of the Reserve, number 1, under Section 3412, until the end of the 31st day period, beginning on the date on which the Secretary submitted the appropriate Congressional Committee for the written notification. 1, describe the condition of the pro sale. 2, containing the assessment by the Secretary whether it's in his best interest of the United States to sell the reserve under such condition. B, the authority to suspend sale. Secretary may suspend the sale of the National Petroleum Reserve, the number 1, under Section 3412 of the Secretary's Director, Office of Management Budget, jointly determine that A, the sale of the producing matter inconsistent with achieving the sale price that reflects the full value of the reserve. B, the course of the action of the immediate sale of the reserve of the best interest of the United States. 2, immediately after making the determination on paragraph 1, the sale of the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1, Secretary shall submit to the appropriate Congressional Committees written with the notification describing the basis of its final term for determination requesting the reconsideration merits of the sale of the reserve. C, in effect with the reconsideration notice sale of the Secretary submit with the notification on subsection B, the Secretary may complete the sale of the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1, under Section 3412, any of the provisional laws unless the sale of the reserve is authorized act of the Congress enacted after the date of the submission of the notification. Alright, Section 3415, treatment of the statement of the California regarding the reserve. Reservation of the funds, all costs incurred with the conduct of the sale of the Navy Petroleum, the reserve, the number 1 under Section 3412, the deductible of the 9% of the remaining proceeds from the sale of the reserve shall be reserved of the contingent fund of the Treasury for the payment of the state of California for the teacher's retirement fund of the state with an event that the extent of the claim to the state with against the United States regarding production proceeds of the sale of the Navy Petroleum Reserve, the number 1, are settled and agreed with the United States under subsection C, or finally resolved in favor of the state with the court competent jurisdiction settlement agreement is not reached. B, the disposition of funds in such amounts of funds provided in appropriations act amounts of the contingent fund should be available to pay and claim as described in subsection A. If final disposition of the claims, any unobligated balance for the contingent fund should be credited with the general fund of the Treasury. If no payment is made with the contingent fund within 10 years after the effective date, the amount of the contingent fund should be credited with the general fund of the Treasury. C, settlement of no later than 30 days after the date of the sale of the National Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1 under Section 3412 of the Secretary Office to settle of the claim of the state of California against the United States with respect to the land of the reserve located within Section 1636 of the Township 30, Range 23 East, the Mount Diablo, Principal Meridian, California production proceeds, sale of the reserve in order to provide proper compensation. State claims Secretary shall pay for the amount of the offered settlement of the payment of the contingent fund, the fair value of the state claims included in mineral estates, and not to exceed the amount reserved of the contingent fund. D, release claims. Acceptance of the settlement offered made under subsection C shall be subject to the condition of all the claims against the United States by the State of California by the Teachers' Retirement Fund of the State with the release of the respectful land of the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1, including Section 16, 36, and 36 of the Township 30 South, Range 23 East, Mount Diablo, Principal Meridian, California production and proceeds of the sale from the reserve. Or Section 3416, study of the future of their Naval Petroleum Reserve. Study required with the Secretary and interest conduct with the study with determine the following with the option for the combination option regarding the Naval Petroleum Reserve of the Naval Petroleum Reserve, the number 1. Maximize the value of the reserve of the United States for retention and operation of Naval Petroleum Reserve by the Secretary under Chapter 64. 1 of Title 10 United States Code. Transfer all of the part of the Naval Petroleum Reserve of the jurisdiction of any other federal agency for administration under Chapter 641 of the Title 10 United States Code. 3. Transfer all of the part of Naval Petroleum Reserve of the Department of Interior Leasing in accordance with the Mineral Leasing Act and the Surface Management in accordance with the Federal Land Policy Management Act. 4. Sale of the interest of the United States with the Naval Petroleum Reserve. B. The conduct of the study with the Secretary shall pertain an independent petroleum constellation to the conduct of the study. C. For the consideration under study with the examination value of the derived of the United States from the transfer of the sale of the Naval Petroleum shall include the assessment of the estimate east the state as an estimate of fair market value of the interest of the United States with the Naval Petroleum Reserve with the assessment of the estimate shall be made with a manner consistent with the customary property with valuation practice for the oil and gas industry. Report recommendation regarding study with no later than June 1st, 1996. Secretary shall submit Congress report describing the result of the study with the containing the such of the recommendation, including proposed for the legislation. Secretary consider the necessary to implement the option combination of the option identified in the study would maximize the value of the National Petroleum Reserve of the United States. And 8721, jurisdiction and control. cut the tape there.